You know, really thinking about this, I have a very, very, very serious suggestion. Please, let's get closer for this one. I honestly believe that we need to ban back to back games. My name is Lippy, and this is the Devil's Weekly Roundup. So, I'm recording this on Sunday night, but hello, my name is Lippy. Welcome back to the Devil's Weekly Roundup, in which we talk about the week of Devils games and give our thoughts and opinions and move forward from there. So, this week we are talking about 3 games. 2 were very good, and 1 was a stinker. And wouldn't you know, it was the tail end of a back to back, but we need to talk about the games before that. So, let's talk about the first game here. Wednesday, the New Jersey Devils took on the Boston Bruins, in which they pulled out a 2-1 OT win, which quite honestly was one of their better games here. Got to give Boston full credit. Jeremy Swayman is an excellent goaltender. He's looked amazing all season. He was looking great in this game. The one thing that I noticed during the broadcast was he was playing very much out of his own net. He wasn't worried about that backdoor pass because I think he trusts his defense and he trusted his game, and it was showing. When the Devils finally started to get a couple more chances with those backdoor passes, you saw him creeping back into his net, and that's ultimately what allowed them to get the goal to tie the game. And then in OT, we saw, what was it? What's the new nickname for them? Peanut Butter and Jelly. That is Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. They connected. Jack broke. I think it was a couple games he hadn't scored. I think he's had a few points there, but regardless, he hadn't scored in a couple games, and that was definitely a great win. And I don't know if I said it in an episode, but I was definitely thinking it was the Devils definitely needed to win this game, because going into the back-to-back, given how the Devils have played in back-to-backs, you don't want to run the risk of only coming out of these 3 games with only 1 win. So the Devils got one under their belts, which is very good. And then we get to the next 2 games. So it was a father's trip, actually. So the Devils had their fathers and their mentors with them. And they were at the Boston game. But then we get to the next game, which is an away game at Columbus. This is obviously a very big game in division. You have your dads and your mentors there. You want to play well. Ruff even said after this game, they'll disappoint their coach, but they won't disappoint their dads. And they did not disappoint their dads at all. Devils win 6-3. In which we saw a lot of milestones. The first one being that Jack Hughes hit 100 career goals by getting his 2nd career hat trick. And actually, after the game, he has 101 goals. And it's been amazing to see because Jack obviously did not have the best start to his career. A lot of people, not Devils fans, threw around the word bust. And since then, Jack has just been the player that we saw. I mean, I believe it was the Devils. They put out a highlight video of his goals 1 to 100. Go back and watch that, and just seeing the goals and how Jack scores them, it makes it obvious that the skill was always there and he was just figuring things out. But saying that, Jack has obviously turned it on. Last year, he got close to 100 points. This year, I think he's still on pace for 100 points. I'll double check that. Maybe I'll put it in the editor's note, but who knows? And as it stands for his career, he has played 267 games and he has 244 points. Given where Jack started, where his first 3 years, he had 21, 31, and 56 points. He's now almost back up to a point per game player, which is the type of player we know Jack can be. And it was great to see. Congratulations to Jack. The second milestone that was hit was Nico hit 300 points altogether, which once again is just a good summarization of his career. He has been really good. He has earned every single point that he has gotten in this league. It was awesome to see that. And the third one was Lindy Ruff entered sole 4th possession of most wins for a coach. So a lot of milestones here. It was a good beginning to the back-to-back. Devils play strong in that first game. But then we get to the latter half. They come back home to face the Anaheim Ducks, who have lost coming into this 13 out of 14 games. They were not looking very good. And the Devils had a lot of momentum coming into this, but the Devils, I believe, going into this game, were 1-5-1 in the second half of back-to-back games. And boy howdy, the rumor mill started early in this game. Vitek was scheduled to start. He didn't start, in case you didn't know. The Devils and the Ducks have been talking, and John Gibson's name has been thrown around, and many people speculate that Vitek would be going back the other way. So Vitek doesn't play because he's not feeling well physically. He's not sick. That is the key point that the Devils said here. He's not sick. He's just not feeling well. So Vitek doesn't start. Schmidt starts. Devils call up Nico Dawes. And the Devils look really good to begin the game. But John Gibson, the player that we're all kind of a little bit worried about, and I've talked about it on TikTok. You can see it there. But basically, I think John Gibson might be too much of a risk. He has a very expensive contract. We're not sure if the play really is there. But quite frankly, watching him for these first two periods, he looked like he was there. He made many clutch saves. It really should have been, the Devils should have been up probably 2-3-0 to begin this game. But John Gibson kept them in it. He looked great. And honestly, maybe, trickle thoughts into the head, maybe we should trade for him. Who knows? But late second period, the Devils finally get one in the net. And I believe at that point that made it 2-1 because the first two goals were scored by surprise. This has just seems to be the trend to pass with Devils facing players is former Devil Adam Henrique scored 2 goals to make it 2-0. And then the Devils finally get one. It was Curtis Lazar to Michael McLeod. And so the Devils went into the third down 2-1. And then for about 10 seconds, people got a little excited because John Gibson did not start the third period. And we're like, oh, did the Devils decide to, if we can't beat him, we'll just trade for him and take him out of the game? That wasn't the case. Unfortunately, John Gibson was not feeling very well, and he did not finish the game. Not that it mattered because the Devils were not able to score a single goal in the third period. They let in 3, and a milestone was hit. Adam Henrique gets his first ever career hat trick. So shout out to Adam Henrique. Congratulations, buddy. You've earned it. And this just continues the trend that the New Jersey Devils have. They are not very good in back-to-back games. The energy is there. They control the puck. They do very well. They just can't seem to keep the momentum going, especially for these games like here, because they do have the legs to skate in back-to-back games. But the plays just don't seem to be there. The goals don't seem to be there. The team is generating chances, but it's just they always seem to run in either a hot goalie and then they lose momentum. And I mean, I will say this about this game. The refs were something. There was a lot of penalties. There was a lot of, I feel like it got a little out of hand. I think there was a lot of missed calls on both sides. And it just was an ugly game. And it was an ugly game. The Devils just couldn't figure it out. And they lost. It was an ugly loss. And, when we look around at the Metro, other teams are going to overtime. I'm pretty sure, the Canes and the Capitals went to overtime. So now, as we look at the standings, the Devils are still behind everyone, and everyone in front of them is either going to overtime constantly with another Metro or winning. And the Devils just, they're still in it. They still have a chance. They're not out of it yet. They're 3 points behind the Islanders with a game in hand. Crazier things have happened. The problem is you're going to start running out of these chances. And as we look forward to this next week, you have 3 home games and before you get the Christmas break. And these could be 3 games that could decide your season. The first one is Tuesday. It is versus the Philadelphia Flyers. This is a in-division game. You need to win this game in regulation. And then you have the Edmonton Oilers, which you want to get revenge for that game. You want to beat them. And then you close out your Christmas break with the Detroit Red Wings. The Devils ideally need to win these 3. 2 out of 3 would be perfect, with one of those being the Flyers. So I did say December was going to be a big month for the Devils, and they have been good. They are above 500, but that might not be good enough here. And they need to win. That's just basically, you can't rely on other teams when you can't win your own games. And, we keep saying each week is important, and this is just going to be another week where it's important. So those are my thoughts. I really do appreciate you watching this. Sorry if I sound a little bit tired. I am recording this at 10 o'clock on Sunday after the Devils just lost to the Ducks. So I might not be of the most cheery mood. But if you'd like to, you can follow me on my socials here. I do daily updates on TikTok, and Instagram is just a social media there. If you aren't, please subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. I would like to know if there's anything you enjoy or would like for me to talk about, because hey, I like talking to a camera. So once again, I appreciate it. This was the Devil's Weekly Roundup. My name is Lippy, and bam, back-to-back games. Just had to tail in there and put a bow on it. All right, I'll see you next week.